Good morning, I'm James Gruber. Welcome to the Morning Report for Tuesday, the 17th of March. Well, there were encouraging headlines from the Middle East overnight. Iran allowed some ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump repeated his call to nations to help unblock the strait. And earlier, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the United States is fine with some Iranian, Indian and Chinese ships going through the Strait of Hormuz for now. All this news helped oil prices ease and markets to rebound. Let's get into what's on the cards when our share market opens later this morning, and for commodities and currencies. The Australian share market is poised to open higher, with index futures up 0.8%, given the strength in overseas markets. As for the ASX 200 yesterday, it closed lower for a third straight session, down 0.4% to 8,583. Rate-sensitive financials rose 0.4%, with Commonwealth Bank adding 1% to its highest in over 2 weeks. Energy stocks finished 0.5% higher, extending gains for a fourth straight session. Miners fell 2.4% though, hitting their lowest level since early January, as iron ore retreated from 2-month highs. Rio Tinto and Fortescue dropped 2% and 3.9% respectively, while BHP slid 1.2%, touching its lowest since February 6, despite reports China had temporarily eased a ban on one of its iron ore products until next week. South 32 fell 5.7% after the miner said it had placed its Mosel aluminium smelter on care and maintenance. Today, investors will await the RBA's decision on interest rates. Most economists predict the bank will lift rates by 25 basis points from 3.85% to 4.10%. Markets have known for the likelihood of a rate rise for at least a week, so we'll be sweating on commentary from the RBA and the path ahead for interest rates. Moving to commodities and back to those oil prices, Brent crude dropped 2.8% to $100.21 a barrel on the better than expected news from the Middle East. Gold futures eased on Monday as concerns that inflation stemming from the Middle East conflict could keep interest rates higher for longer outweighed support from a softer US dollar. The futures settled down 1.2% to $5,002 US an ounce. Base metal prices were mixed on Monday. Copper futures rose 1.3% as stronger economic data from China boosted sentiment. Meanwhile, aluminium futures fell 2.8% on profit-taking after recent gains on supply concerns. Iron ore futures were marginally higher, up 0.2% to $105.34 a tonne. Let's turn to currencies. The Aussie dollar was last trading 0.9% higher to 70.74 US cents. And now let's go back a step to see how Wall Street and other markets did. The Dow Jones index finished 0.8% higher. The S&P 500 index was up 1% and the Nasdaq index gained 1.2%. There are some developments worth highlighting. The tech-heavy Nasdaq led the way today, with Meta among the top gainers after a report said the megacap was preparing for sweeping AI-related layoffs. All of the 11 S&P 500 sectors were higher, with tech the best of them, rising 1.4%. Meta gained 2.3% after reports that the company plans to shrink its workforce by 20% or more to offset costly AI infrastructure bets and prepare for greater efficiency brought about by AI-assisted workers. Electronics giant Taiwan's Foxconn, Nvidia's biggest server maker, issued a strong quarterly revenue forecast on Monday. Tesla rose 1.1% as Elon Musk said the company's Terafab project to make AI chips will launch in 7 days. Meanwhile, chipmaker Micron climbed 3.7%, following the announcement of the company's plans for a second manufacturing facility in Taiwan. US government bond yields fell on Monday as oil prices retreated and stock markets recovered. The US 10-year Treasury yield was down 6 points to 4.23%, while the US 2-year Treasury yield fell 5 points to 3.68%. To the European markets now, the continent-wide FTSE Euro First 300 index finished 0.4% higher, while the UK FTSE 100 advanced 0.6%. Europe snapped a 3-day losing streak after an early wobble as oil prices eased. Real estate and energy led the gains, up 1.5% and 1.2% respectively. Among individual stocks, Commerzbank rose 9% after Italy's UniCredit launched a bid to increase its stake in the German lender. So what are we watching for this week? Well, besides monitoring developments out of the Middle East, in Australia, we've obviously got that big RBA decision on rates today. Also, there are ASX companies going ex-dividend as well, including SEEK and Reece. In the US Central Bank will make its own interest rate decision on Wednesday. Rates are expected to remain on hold. And that's it for today. For further developments on the local trading session, please tune in to the CommSec Market Update podcast this afternoon and, of course, the Market Close video. Have a great day.